Oh yeah, I definitely swapped out here. Oh, no way. They got a trap too. It's beautiful. So it's not that in the world. Oh, let's go. We finally got it. Two shield ready still. Hey everyone, I hope this interlude season has been pretty relaxed for everyone. During one of my Ultra League Silph battles a few weeks ago, I ran a line with a Pidgeot lead and a Blizzard Politoed as a safe swap. I realized that this was actually a really great trap for my opponent's Trevenant, because you either Blizzard the Trevenant that counter swaps the Politoed, or you farm it all the way down after they burn a shield, shielding the Blizzard. So I decided to see if I can make this work in Open Ultra League, and overall it's been a super fun team. So I've been running Pidgeot in the lead with a Blizzard Politoed as a safe swap and a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. I call this team the Trevenant trap, but overall I actually didn't see as many Trevenants as I thought I would. However, that Blizzard still came in handy quite a bit. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to my strategies and lineups, as well as my various guides on how to use these teams and additional behind the scenes footage, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. In this first battle, it's the first time I tried using this team. I actually accidentally brought in my Earthquake Politoed instead of my Blizzard one. So obviously Earthquake a little better against Ampharos. But they're going to swap out, and unfortunately I could not trap down the Trevenant like I planned, but as you can see, most Trevenants are not shielding that Blizzard, so I would have definitely landed it, and if they didn't, I would be able to kind of gust the Trevenant all the way down. So I'm going to let this C-Bomb go. They are going to be able to farm me down, or just throw another C-Bomb, and that's fine too. I get very minimal farm off of this, so not ideal. I'm a little nervous what they have in the back, because most Ampharos have checks to ground types in the back, especially 2 checks, and here comes Swampert, so really bad. I do land the Earthquake though, which is absolutely huge for me, so I'm going to farm up to another Earthquake. I'm going to shield everything here. There's a slight chance that this Ampharos is running Focus Blast, but then they're quite weak to Giratina, so they might be running Dragon Pulse instead. I am going to grab their shields with some Rock Slides, which is absolutely huge, and then the best thing about Ultra League is you can really burn out those switch timers and get back into a bad matchup. So I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird here. No real need to debuff here. I just want to do as much damage as possible, and they do farm me down all the way. If it's a Focus Blast, it's a Focus Blast, but they throw Thunder Punch. Good chance that they're running Dragon Pulse instead. I think Dragon Pulse is still a little better of a move to throw there, but either way, they're going to just do as much chip damage as they can here, and trying to desperately get to that Earthquake, and we finally get to it. Able to win this match somehow, despite being hard countered in every single scenario. Now this time around, we did bring the Blizzard Politoed, so get ready for some big blizzards. What I noticed is that a lot of Pokemon in neutral lead scenarios with Pidgeot do not shave that Brave Bird. So I don't know how many times I've landed Brave Bird and completely just almost one-shot things. Able to draw out their fighter here, which is absolutely huge. There's not nearly as many double fighter teams in Ultra League. I think I only ran into one double fighter team that hard countered me since playing Ultra League Open this time around. But usually there's one, or not usually, but oftentimes there's one, or a counter user like Obstagoon, which is fine too. I'm going to aggressively swap time Pidgeot here because they only have one Pokemon left, so I want to just take it out, and it's a Giratina. That's absolutely huge. And then now it is a Dragon Breath Giratina too, so that's actually really nice for me because I'm resisting all those Dragon Breaths. Dragon Breath is a pretty good move. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it does similar damage to Shadow Sneak or Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw is also a really good move though. So even though you're resisting Dragon Breath still does quite a bit of damage, even when resisted. So yeah, I am going to start shielding these Shadow Sneaks. I'm going to throw a Rock Slide here, see if they shield or not. They actually no shield, which is actually quite wild. I'm going to throw another one, see what happens here. And then I go, yeah, just let this farm me down because I still have the Politoed. Doesn't even KO me, and then now we are able to finish off the match. All right, Giratina Altered. This one's running Dragon Breath, so not nearly as favorable matchup as the Shadow Claw variants. But again, in more neutral scenarios, I like to go that Brave Bird first, swap straight away. If they shield this, that's one shield down. I can land a Blizzard later or Earthquake. This team has big moves. Brave Bird, Blizzard, Earthquake. Getting shields or landing those moves are always huge, so it's never a bad idea to just go straight for the big move. You either grab a shield and can land a big move later, or you do a lot of damage. All right, so this person does come in A9 here, and I was a little suspicious that this would be double charm, but it does throw me a little bit off because I feel like they probably would have shielded if it was double charm. But here comes the Giratina again. I'm going to no shield this, farm as much as I can until they swap. Let's see what they swap to. Farming up, and a great catch by them to catch this Rock Slide on their G-Fist. It was kind of a really blind catch because I was way past Earthquake, but made a really good call. But they do let that Earthquake go through. I'm going to shield even this Rock Slide, not the end of the world, and I do get this off. I am anticipating an Earthquake soon though. My shields are down, so let's see if I can make a big catch. And do we catch an Earthquake? We catch an Earthquake on the Pidgeot. Absolutely huge. Always fun to do that. All right, going against another Giratina Altered lead. This time it does have Shadow Claw, but as you can see, this opponent is still staying in, which means this Pidgeot has a lot of value. So what I'm going to do here is drop the Brave Bird and then swap right over to my Politoed. Again, they no shield. I'm contemplating shielding this because I am double debuffed, and now they come in with a Venusaur here. Here's the thing with Politoed. This is a non-shadow Politoed too. If you're wondering about shadowed or not, this specific matchup, the non-shadow is nice because you live the frenzy and you can get the Blizzard off. The shadow would not be able to pull that off. A Swampert would not be able to pull that off either. But yeah, didn't Blizzard a Trevenant yet, but we did Blizzard a Venusaur, which is quite nice. All right, so I am going to just let this Moonblast go. It is going to pretty much one-shot me, but G-Fist does have a very solid matchup here, so I am going to, yeah, I guess they try to sack here, but I'm going to just throw the Rock Slide here, and not enough to KO it, but that's fine. Get a little energy here. It's going to be kind of close. The Grass Knots Cresselia does a little bit more damage than one would expect. In 2 shields, it actually could beat the G-Fist going straight Grass Knots if you end up shielding all the Earthquakes, but I'm going to go for another Earthquake. If they shield, they shield, but they don't shield, which I think they were anticipating, because that's the only win count they have is if I bait there. Able to finish it off though. All right, Talonflame is actually a little bit hard to deal with than you would think. In the lead, it's not too bad. I'm going to shield a potential Brave Bird. They flame charge me. That's fine. I'm going to go for a Brave Bird here and see if they grab a shield. I do grab a shield. So the big thing with Talonflame is very strong against what do you call it? G-Fisk. So especially with shields up, and it's not too bad against a Pidgeot. So in the back or in other spots where I don't know where it's at, it could really do some damage, especially with shield advantage. They do come in with a Jellicent, and Jellicent unfortunately is very good against this Politoed when I don't have Blizzard. But as you can see here, I'm going to save my Politoed here and try to make a play with it later if I need to. But able to, yeah, just get to this Earthquake and take out this Jellicent. I was really scared of a potential catch. And then here comes a Greedent. This is actually quite disastrous. Greedent is already fairly neutral against G-Fist. G-Fist does have a slight advantage because Earthquake just does so much, but if they shield the Earthquakes, get some debuffs with Crunch, they're in a good spot. But here's the thing. I came in with really low health, and I get defense drop here. At this point, I'm like, there's no win con, right? And they no shield again. Very surprising. So I'm going to throw the Surf, and then going for another Surf, and able to get to it before they incinerate me down. I don't think the Shadow version would live that. Again, another reason why the non-shadow might be better. And we just barely eke out the win there. I was definitely on the edge of my seat for that one. And maybe you were too. Oh, also, if you're wondering, why Surf over Weather Ball? Surf is more energy efficient these days. You could definitely get away with Weather Ball in Great League, but in Ultra League, everything has so much more bulk. You just don't do nearly as much with the Weather Balls. I think Surf is definitely the better call. Surf used to be worse than Weather Ball until they nerfed Weather Ball, so now Surf is actually slightly better. Here's the other thing with Surf. It means you throw less charge moves, which means there's less likelihood of them sneaking in or getting, however you want to call it, getting a fast move when you're throwing a charge move. So the more charge moves you throw, the more likely they sneak. Oh, all right, not a fan. Anyway, she stayed way longer than I expected. This opponent, again, no shielding. The Obstagoon, like I said, a lot of opponents do not shield that first Brave Bird, especially when neutral. But even if they do, you know, you set yourself up for a good spot. Typically speaking, I would farm this down with G-Fisk, but what I want to do is, in case they have a fighter, I want an energy lead here. And the other situation is, if they don't have a fighter, I could just potentially just debuff a lot, and then go to my G-Fisk. This situation, I didn't need a debuff. I just need to grab their last shield, which I did, but surprisingly, they actually are running Earthquake on their Shadow Node Queen. Quite the spicy moveset. Earthquake is much better than Earth Power, so it could really take some opponents by surprise there. Yeah, that might have been disastrous had I not had a full health G-Fisk there. All right, again, we go for a Brave Bird against this Obstagoon lead. There's a very specific reason why I'm showing another Obstagoon clip, and you'll see why in a bit. But they do no shield. Unfortunately, I get an attack drop on the very first Moonblast. Very unlucky. But this is still not a great matchup for Politoed either way. Like I said, Weather Ball is not nearly as energy efficient, so these would be doing even less than the Surfs had you be running Weather Ball. They go for Future Sight here. Does definitely more damage. The Pokémon just farmed me all the way down. Not great, but it is what it is. And at this point, I have a G-Fisk, and here comes a Talon. I probably should have swapped to my own G-Fisk ahead of time, because they pretty much don't have much left on their Obstagoon, so I'm not really worried about that. But Talon in 2 shields versus G-Fisk is already a tough matchup. Talon with a energy advantage against a G-Fisk with 2 shields, even worse. So this is definitely a tough spot for me to be in. They are boosted quite a bit on these Incinerate damage. I'm trying to get to that Brave Bird as soon as possible. Yeah, we do get to it. Fortunately, without them catching, that would have been quite disastrous. So we do finally take out the Talon. Trying to get rid of this Obstagoon, but unfortunately get to move just in time. So a big lesson there is the power of a backline Talon. So we'll revisit that in a future match too on how I decide to play it out differently. Trevenant lead. Very, very strong lead. I'm going to probably throw a Feather Dance here instead to ensure that I win switch advantage. I double shield here. I don't know if this is worth the double shield, not gonna lie. In hindsight, I think that was a slight misplay. 1 shield is fine. I do live a Hydro Cannon even when they're debuffed. I'm gonna farm quite a bit of energy here. I know for a fact I either take out this Trevenant with my Politoed, or I grab a shield with that Blizzard. So I'm in a good spot either way. So let's go for the Blizzard. Let's see if we can Blizzard our first Trevenant here. And we do. So it does one-shot, unlike Venusaur. Venusaur is much tankier. But now they have a Charm Bramble, which is definitely a good spot for me to be in. Come in G-Fisk and they concede right there. They probably have close combat, but they just had debuffed themselves so much at that point, and it's just a losing match. Now here is the Trevenant trap that we've been trying to set for our opponents. Walrein lead and Politoed Blizzard safe swap. Take out the Trevenant. Now they have to come in with a Swampert, and I'm going to just put in a bunch of work here with these Surfs. I believe I even lived this Hydro Cannon, which is huge. Yeah, we do live that. And then we have the Pidgeot for the Swampert and the G-Fisk for the Walrein. Walrein and G-Fisk matchup is not nearly as clean as you would like, because that Earthquake does do quite a bit of damage to G-Fisk, and even Icicle Spear is neutral. This had kind of a misplay by me. What I could have done is just double shielded my G-Fisk and farmed up energy against the Swampert. But I said just take it out. Now we're on even shields here. It's still in G-Fisk's favor, especially if I shield an Earthquake, which I do luckily. But yeah, if I didn't shield that and got baited, it'd definitely be a little bit tighter, I think. Here's the thing. If they shielded their Trevenant, here's why this trap works really well. You farm all the way down with your Pidgeot against the Trevenant, and you Brave Bird that Walrein, and not many things can handle Brave Birds very well in this meta. So yeah. Alright. Jellicent. Positive lead, especially if they're running Hex and Bubble Beam, is actually very, very solid. But here's the thing, they're not swapping out. So this is a really bad matchup for them, which signals to me that they're probably weak to Pidgeot in the back. So I'm going to swap to my Politoed to see what we can do here. They still didn't swap out yet. Throw a Bubble Beam, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to throw some Surfs here just to really chip this thing down. And here comes Scrafty. So that's okay. If they catch this, it's still the most optimal move to throw out Scrafty anyway. And this is good because you draw out the fighter. Essentially, if you don't see the fighter or you don't see a grass in the lead and it's a losing matchup for them, they probably have something in the back quite weak. So I'm going to shield this potential foul play. Ends up being a pup. That's fine. I farm all the way down. And then now I do have a lot of energy. I'm going to potentially go for... I'm going for Feather Dance. I could have easily been a Brave Bird. And then now I'm going to come in with a Politoed, which is going to be really solid here. I'm going to no-shield this because it's just neutral. Resist debuffed Earth Power too at that. And then now I am in a pretty good spot. I'm going to just farm this all the way down. It's probably another Bubble Beam, but that's fine. These Earthquakes will still add up. It ends up being a Shadow Ball. That's fine. I actually prefer the Shadow Ball there because I'm not nearly as debuffed. But it's a tough spot for my opponent to be in. And we finish it off with this nice Earthquake. All right. And going to this last matchup is Umbreon lead. Now, remember what I said about backline Talonflames. You have to always watch out for them. And so that's why we are going to first play this out. Like typical neutral matchups, throw that Brave Bird, then dip out to my Politoed. Maybe to have a Trevenant in the back. Probably not, because that team would be super weak to Obstagoon leads. They do throw a move here, which means they probably aren't super good at checking this. No, they do have Crest. I guess maybe they needed the foul play to chip it down. I don't know. I would expect Crest to win this matchup pretty easily, but I don't know. Maybe they just wanted the chip damage there. But yeah, when I'm realizing at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Umbreon lead. What do they now want to see? Charmers and Fighters. What beats Charmers and Fighters? Crest to a degree, but it's probably ABB. So what else can beat it? Probably a Talonflame. So I decided to shield my Politoed there, despite being a losing matchup, giving up switch advantage. But still, I never had switch advantage. And now, let's see what they have in the back. And they come back in with Crest, interesting enough. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here. And now I come in with the Pidgeot. I'm going to no shield and catch a Grass Knot too, which is huge. And then here comes the Talonflame, which is absolutely awesome for me. I go straight for the Feather Dance. It's okay to no shield that. Now they're debuffed, so even when they buff themselves up with the Flame Charge, they're still debuffed by 1. The Politoed I saved for the potential Talonflame in the back is coming in really handy here. I believe I survive a Flame Charge here. Yes, it's still just a single Flame Charge without buffs. And then now I'm in a very good spot. I'm going to just farm this all the way down, drop Rock Slide, and take out the backline Talon. And we're about to time out too. So that's kind of how you deal with backline Talons. You got to always think about potential backline Talons, especially when you see the leads like Darks or Fighters. Thank you all for watching. I know all these mons are still fairly meta for the most part, but because Ultra League is so expensive, I think it's totally reasonable for people to be a little less spicy there. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video, and I'll catch you all next time.